Bernstein Unfiltered. Unfiltered on 312 Sports.
Welcome to Dan Bernstein Unfiltered. I am the eponymous Dan Bernstein, and that is Matt Abaticola, our executive producer here on 312 Sports. So today, a Bears thought, a thought on the gambling scandal that is unfolding across the United States and potentially beyond based on every detail that's emerging. And I love what's happening is people actually read through the full indictment and get some understanding. First it's like, well, this is crazy. Chauncey Billups isn't really connected to anything but the poker. Like, oh, really? Why don't you read about co-conspirator 8 or however he's designated and some of what is being shared and how this is all going on? I don't know if you heard the debate between Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith. It was really interesting. They were getting after it about how Kenny was like, look, gambling, this just shows you that gambling is a disease. It's an addiction, and it can override logical behavior. And Barkley was having none of it. He goes, no, this is stupid. It's stupidity. I don't want to hear anything about that. You got guys making tens of millions of dollars who are risking it all for all this stuff. And Kenny's like, well, yeah, Charles, you're making my point.
Right.
That people make illogical decisions because of the addiction. And he said, I don't want to hear that. It's just stupid. It's not an addiction. You're letting him off the hook. It got pretty heated. It was pretty good. It's like, I'm mad at Kenny right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of that, but I would lean more towards Kenny because there really is the inability to stop what you're doing when you have that wiring in your brain and that addiction. It is a disease and it is a sickness that really needs professional help to overcome. You can't just knock it on your own. There
are a lot of layers to this, and
sure.
and it's been very, very interesting to watch how we're certainly not excluded here. We and others in sports media are trying to be as open and honest about this as we are supported by money from sports gambling. It is underpinning the entire industry, and everybody who points out that irony is right. And I think it's completely fair to point out the irony that that everybody talking sports, wherever we are in large part funded by gambling. It's a fact. Running from it and failing to acknowledge that openly is cowardly. So I understand it, and I think we can all have enough bandwidth, enough ability to understand that that's part of what we're all doing here, and not necessarily be somehow cowed into not talking about things because of what the realities are. Look, Europe has been dealing with this forever, and with all the popularity of sports there and everything that's gone on and all they've dealt with, this is part of these are the growing pains of this partnership. It's going to happen. It's a matter of how the leagues respond. And I think Adam Silver has to come out today. Don't hide behind statements. Adam Silver's got to come out and say anybody found to have been involved in betting on my game is banned for life. Period. Paragraph. Out. Done. Forever.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with anything that you just said there because I agree with you. We are supported, and the sports talk industry has been supported by gambling dollars for years and years and years. But and it's not lost on me. But the fact that you have professional athletes that are doing things to impact the outcomes of games is not in the similar vein of being supported by gambling dollars to talk sports.
No, but I just think it acknowledges those who say, boy, it's sure hard for all of these sportscasters out there to talk about this and to take some kind of ethical stand or make some sort of serious point and then to say, well, this is brought to you by. And I think we can acknowledge that.
Yeah, but I'm not taking some kind of ethical stand and saying Chauncey Billups is a bad guy and he needs this should happen to him and he should do that.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, he's a guy that made a mistake and might have an addiction issue and a problem with gambling. And Terry Rozier, I mean, the same thing. I'm not going to pass any judgment on them for the mistakes they've made, but they're also in a position where they can impact the outcomes of games, and you have to live with those consequences regardless of this illness or not.
Oh, right. They have to be banned for life.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter why. And if it so happens that you're unlucky that you throw away everything you've built in your life because of your addiction, that too bad. That's the world we live in.
Yeah, and
it sucks.
and hopefully you can recover from it personally and rebound, become a better individual. I'm never going to pass judgment on someone for making mistakes and making bad life decisions. We all do that, and I think if you want to live in some kind of ivory tower and pass judgment on people and not look at yourself and the things you do in your own life because your sins aren't as bad as other people's sins, well, I'm not for that, not buying that, but I'm also not going to pretend like, oh, we can't do our segments on sports betting and be supported in this industry and sports talk because of it. That's
I agree
not
with
who
you.
I am. So
I agree with you, and that's in large part, that's also sort of my point. Is I think we are all aware enough intellectually to understand where we are, what's going on, and deal with it as like adults who are capable of thinking about multiple things at the same time.
or as adult as we can be.
Right, which exactly whatever the limit is on our ability to function as intellectually as adults, and I know that I'm not necessarily great at that all the time.
Yeah, our ceiling might be a little lower than others.
Here's a Bears point that is important to me, and it always has been. I reiterate it every so often. Do you know who I want the Bears to be able to line up against on Sunday, and as they emerge victorious, say that they were able to conquer?
Can I guess?
Yeah, the answer is Cooper Rush. I'm not even going
Okay.
to let you guess.
I was going to say the
Yeah.
worst possible opponent.
Yes, the answer is Cooper Rush or whoever their emergency quarterback is behind him after they knock Cooper Rush out of the game. Because all this high-minded crap about, well, the Bears should hope that they can beat the best, and I wanted them to say, no! Stop saying that. Stop thinking that. What you want every week is for the team that you care about to have the absolute best chance to win about whatever the opponent is able to roll out on that field. Depth matters. Roster building matters. Being able to withstand injuries is a test of an organization. And if the organization can't, that's on them. It's not on you. Stop saying stupid things like, I want Lamar Jackson to play. I'm a Bears fan. Shut up. Then you're a stupid Bears fan.
Yeah, I think that's born out of the whole idea of this lack of national respect for my team. I think that's where it comes from. Because you remember a few weeks ago when we looked ahead at the schedule and Joe Burrow was out before Frankenstein's monster got there. It was like, oh, that's going to be a win. We're looking forward to that. That changes the way things look now. And then as you get closer to that game, it's like, we're not getting enough national respect. The national media doesn't believe in the Bears like I do, and they're criticizing them on national broadcasts. It's like, no, like don't get away from that initial thought of give me the easiest possible route to a victory.
And you know why? Because when it happens to Bears opponents, when you get to the end of a season and you look back on like the NFC North, and you're saying, well, geez, the Packers won 10 games or the Vikings won 11 games, the Lions, nobody remembers what their schedule looks like. No, you don't remember how many of the other teams' wins or the teams that finished ahead of you were against some horseshit quarterback. Nobody remembers. And it makes me crazy to have to do this because you know I hate it, and I don't want to be that guy. But I'm going to be that guy for a moment, if you'll indulge me. What is the essence of the soul of every Bears fan, whether it's our age, older, maybe even slightly younger, still to this day in the DNA of Bears fans? It is the 1985 Super Bowl champion Bears, right?
Yes.
Okay.
40 years ago.
Do you really want to go through and look at the quarterbacks that those teams beat and the teams that those teams beat? Do you really want to do that?
Dan,
do you remember what was going on?
No, I do. Just, I mean, the Super Bowl is all you have to look at.
Thank you. So I was building
all you have to do
I was
the
building
Super
to
Bowl.
that. First of all,
44-10 over bum quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, it isn't just that. In the NFC Championship, do you remember Dieter Brock?
Yes.
You know how bad he was?
I mean,
the Rams,
the games where the Bears didn't give up any points on the run to the Super Bowl?
The Rams pulled out this guy, Dieter Brock. Who the hell is he? Well, I know he's the guy lying down there holding his head and people are stepping on him. But
his head is in his arms because it's off of his neck. It's detached.
But here's the thing. The whole point of the playoffs and nobody cares about this, and which is good that nobody cares about it, was the point of the Super Bowl was to avenge their in-season Monday Night Football loss over Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins.
Yep.
Everything was pointing to that. That's what, we'll get you back when it's time for the AFC to meet the NFC in the Super Bowl, because the Bears were licking their wounds over being 15-1 instead of 16-0 in the greatest season of all time. And you know what? They never got that chance because that Patriots team ended up in the Super Bowl. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter that you're chasing Tony Eason around and Richard Dent's pinning his arms behind his back and taking the ball away from him. And everybody's running back every pass for a touchdown, and Jim Morrissey and Reggie Phillips and everybody else. And it didn't matter. You didn't face Dan Marino. You never avenged that loss. And nobody gives a shit.
Right. Not only that, but in the last 40 years, no one's ever brought up the 85 Bears and said, yeah, but the quarterbacks they played against, I mean, it doesn't really count. It's not as significant. No, people still live and will go to their grave at the greatest team that ever played in the NFL. But yet we conveniently forget who the quarterbacks were because they won it all. And that's all that matters.
And even if you win the game, like, you don't remember, even in a good Bears season, whether it was Tyler Thigpen or Seneca Wallace or whoever it was that you saw, that was a good thing.
Yes, it was a good thing.
Do you remember when they lost to Brett Hundley?
Now, let me ask you this. Let's play imaginary game in imaginary fairy tale land. The Bears
I like imaginary fairy tale land. That's where I get to be an elf.
They win the Super Bowl this year.
Okay.
Is anyone ever going to go back and go, yeah, I remember, though, in Week 8 when Lamar wasn't his best?
No!
Or, like, oh, my God, Lamar only played half the game.
I mean, they won this. They won that year. Even if they don't win the Super Bowl, I would say even if they remember this as the arrival of Ben Johnson and the Bears, just like we were talking about with Lou Canellis yesterday on Forward Progress. Like, if they just have a really good year that gets you excited about the regime and excited about the era and excited about what's to come, nobody's going to remember that Cooper Rush was out there wetting his pants.
Right, or that Joe Flacco played for Joe Burrow because he was out with turf toe.
Who cares?
No one should care, especially as a fan. The only people that should care are the guys that make money off of who they play. We shouldn't care. We should enjoy victories and try to get over the losses as quick as possible, and that should be our job as Bears fans.
Thank you. I thought it was a simple thing, but I hate. I don't want the Bears to say that they beat a team without Lamar Jackson. Why not? What's wrong with you? I hope that the other team's got nobody left that has to forfeit.
Yes. No, that would be great.
Right. That's an automatic win. Right.
Yeah. As a Bears fan, I want a W. And yeah, am I going to get worked up if it's ugly and they don't perform as well as I expect them to perform in their individual jobs as NFL players? Yeah, I'm still going to do that because I'm a meatball and I'm a moron and I have higher expectations for certain players on this team. But at the end of the day, I'm going to walk away and go, it was a W, and that's all that matters. Because when I look at the standings, there's a W column and there's an L column. Mm-hmm. And there isn't a one by this many column or one ugly column or should have lost but didn't lose column. It's a W and an L, period. I don't care who the opponents are, but if I have a choice, I'm always going to choose the starter to be hurt and never play the Bears. Always.
At every position.
At every position.
Yes.
Especially quarterback.
Right. It's like we...
if it was like, hey, Lamar Jackson's out, Derrick Henry's out, great. Let's go. Let's eat. I'm happy.
Thank you. Good. I'm glad we can enter that into the record.
On the same page now.
And we can establish that indeed. I'm just sitting in my basement right now, and you think, ooh, the basement. It's got to be really cold down there on a day like this. See, it's not, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's good windows here. And the reason I have good windows in my house is because of Russ Armstrong and Chicago Window Guys. And you're like, boy, I'd really like to have good windows in my house. You can. All you got to do is call him. He's waiting. 847-302-9171. Go to ChicagoWindowGuys.com, and Russ will come to your house, and he'll talk to you about windows and curling. He'll also talk to you about curling.
Your hair?
No. Russ is a curler. He
Oh,
loves.
seriously?
Yeah, he loves. I'm telling you,
I didn't
when
know that.
Russ comes to your house, if you pour a pot of coffee and you want to talk about curling, he's your guy. I'm telling you, if we did a curling segment, Russ he'd show up in studio like in full curling gear.
Well, we could plan that down the road, and maybe a curling segment, a bocce ball segment. Who knows?
Perfect. As long as they want to sponsor it, it's fine. And Russ he's the owner of Chicago Window, guys. He doesn't use subcontracted labor, so he knows all the people who are in and around your house. His whole crew works for him. So the same people that installed my windows and are going to install my new windows will install yours. He matches any price, so you don't have to worry when you hear these buy one get one free or 50% off this when you buy this. He'll explain why none of that makes any sense. He also offers a lifetime guarantee with parts and labor. So that means if your little kid has a curveball slip out of his fingers and it breaks the glass, he's going to replace it for free. He can't replace your kid's janky curveball, though. You don't have to wait weeks on end for a replacement to come in from across the country because Russ's factory, he custom makes the windows for you right here in Chicago. So give him a call, especially right before the weather gets really, really cold. You're going to regret it if you don't call now. 847-302-9171, ChicagoWindowGuys.com.
Nice. You know what time it is, Dan?
It is, yeah, I do. It's 9:38 a.m. in the great city of Chicago.
On a Friday morning during
Okay. Yes, I do
it's
know
time
what time it
for
is.
Friday feedback.
It's time for Friday feedback.
Yes,
and
very excited.
Let me just say, I think we set a new record this week for the number of submissions that were specifically tagged Friday feedback. Like I go in and try to grab everything that we'll look through the comments, we'll look through the emails that come into, and the email, by the way, it's dan@312sports.com, matt@312sports.com, feedback@312sports.com. So there's all kinds of stuff that comes in. Some of it is personal. And I wanted to mention there was a lot of feedback this week about the commentary that I made regarding Joel Quenneville and his return to United Center again with another team and the Blackhawks and the idea that, they've moved on and how Brad Aldrich's victims don't have that luxury, don't have that privilege of moving on. And I thought it was kind of gross the way everything was handled. And I received several notes from people who said it was important for them to hear that stand being taken. Also mentioning the work that Mark Lazarus did, because he really wrote an important and gutsy column for The Athletic about the very same thing. I'm not going to name names and I'm not going to read specific stories, but sadly, I heard from a number of people who also were victims of abuse and felt empowered and felt that they had an ally in those who would say that you don't move on. You just don't. And it can be insulting when the people who facilitate the perpetration of these crimes can declare that they have moved on. So I hear you, received, noted, and I appreciate people having the courage to put their names on these things and their courage to reach out and tell some of these stories and share some of these really difficult things.
Some of the people that replied in and emailed and had a different approach to it were going at us for the commentary that we shared, that you shared, Dan, and saying things in a negative light about Kyle Beach. Those individuals that
it's awful.
That lack the simple ability to hear another individual, to hear their story, and to feel anything, to feel any empathy or any sympathy for that individual, for what they've gone through, and then turn around and use the narrative of lies that have been out there. It's just it's really sad. It's really sad.
And be aggressively.
And to be aggressive about it.
To be angry. Sure. How dare you get mad at Quenneville?
Like, as a human, to lack the ability to show empathy to another person is really sad. Is really sad. And I would suggest, if you feel that way or you lack that ability, take a look at yourself. Seriously, because if there's a handful of things that I can teach my boys in life. One of them is to be empathetic towards others. And if you lack that ability, it says a lot about your development as a person. And it should be examined and looked at, period.
Well said. So can we get to the fun stuff?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start? Because
Go ahead.
normally don't
You
contribute.
go ahead.
I'm really excited.
Go ahead.
I'm excited. Okay. So this was an email that came in from Nick. And I read this on the train, laughed out loud, read it multiple times, laughed every time. So thank you, Nick, for this. He says, I'd like to give you guys a big fuck you in the nicest way possible.
I already like it.
For making a fool out of me in our annual county all-staff meeting. I work in government human services just north of Milwaukee. As many other human services providers, we have had some pretty significant budget challenges over the last several years. Our county director was giving an annual update, specifically on some budget stuff. Apparently, we've made some great strides over the last 2 years, and the way he described the work we did was super duper. Not only did he say it once, he said it 5 times. The first time he said it, I immediately thought of Maddie playing his super duper clip. The second time he said it, I snickered. The third time he said it, I covered my mouth with my coffee cup because I was smiling. The fourth time he said it, I had just taken a drink of coffee. I spit half of it out laughing and began choking on the second half, loudly, dropping my metal coffee cup on the hard tile floor in the process. Immediately, 300 sets of eyes focus on me, laugh coughing, coffee coming out of my nose, and coffee all down the front of my shirt and onto the front of my pants.
I apologize for nothing.
After I collected myself and the subsequent awkward silence and assurances that I was okay, the director made direct eye contact with me and said, one more time, you guys did super duper work. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought he was in on the bit. So like I said, fuck you guys very much and keep up the great work. Good, better, best from Nick. I absolutely loved it. I laughed out loud, read it multiple times. Thanks for sharing that email, Nick.
Yes, thank you, Nick. Appreciated. This is from Kevin in Jefferson Park, who said, thanks for getting me in trouble at work.
Oh, no. It's like our new slogan.
Yeah, right.
Listen to DBU, get fired.
Right. 312 Sports, getting you in trouble at work. He said for walking around and making up lyrics to the My Buddy jingle.
Oh, no.
And meanwhile, a guy sent me a picture. He had, like, somewhere in his mother's house, he found his original My Buddy.
Yeah,
it is
somewhere in his mother's house.
It is creepy as shit, man.
Oh, yeah?
It is so weird. It's awful. So he said he kept singing, my buddy, won't say where he was on January 6th.
So walking around the office making up lyrics.
Yes.
And then singing them out loud, though. That's great.
My buddy wants my dad's password for Pornhub.
Okay.
It's too good. All right. Now, this came in earlier. I wasn't able to get to it last week, but it's evergreen because the World Series is starting tonight.
Okay.
And this is Kevin in Warrenville. Says he's right by the Topgolf I-88 corridor.
Watch out.
He says, John Smoltz was on the Dan Patrick Show. And during a segment in the third hour about legendary rock bands, the guys each thought was overrated or they didn't like, John Smoltz didn't participate because he says he doesn't like music and doesn't know any bands. And apparently Paul even closed the show with his he learned today. So I'm telling you, something's wrong with John Smoltz.
Yeah, that right there, that's the clincher. I mean, if you needed
any
bit of information,
doesn't like music.
That's weird.
It's
really weird.
It's one thing to not be totally into music. It's another thing to say you don't like you don't like things that sound good, like any kind of music, like a wind chime. You don't even like.
I don't. Yeah, I don't get it because
songbirds.
like music's always been, even though I'm not musically inclined, I can't sing well, I've never played an instrument, but music has always been a big part of my life, and I think it is for most of us too. And there really isn't anything better than hearing a piece of music, whatever genre it is, whatever it might come from, and to impart emotion and draw emotion out of you or
Come on,
feeling.
man.
There's nothing better than that.
It's
And
It's
to
the
not
essence of
have that,
humanity.
You're not fucking human.
You're not human.
All right, that's it. I officially hate John Smoltz.
Thank you.
I wasn't on board with you because I was like, all right, whatever. I don't give a shit. And now I definitely don't like the guy. I'm done.
Who wants to share that publicly?
Right.
I don't like music.
I don't like food or breathing.
Come on, man.
Okay,
All right,
John.
here is a note from Father Nick.
Uh-oh.
This is Father Nick in O'Fallon,
He's got
Illinois.
a different My Buddy story.
Father Nick says, greetings from the downstate diaspora. Despite having a theology degree, I was surprised how much I learned on Friday's episode of DBU regarding your list of saints. Things never even touched upon in my hagiography course at the seminary. One that I expected to be on your list, however, and again, this is coming from a seminarian, a priest. Saint Eleutherius of Nicodemia, the decapitated icon ensconced on the stained glass window of Reverend Lovejoy's church. Among the miracles attributed to Saint Eleutherius was inspiring Lovejoy to get the vestibule recarpeted. And he says, I love the new format. That is from Father Nick. Thank you, Father Nick.
Wait, you say he was sent that email in from downstate, the downstate what?
The downstate diaspora.
Diaspora?
Yeah.
What is a I don't know what
a diaspora is a of a group or an organization that is scattered outward that finds finds safety in how far it can be spread. That and like throwing out casting seeds outward. There can be a diaspora for social groups, for religious groups, for anybody to be represented far and wide.
Okay. Just a little programming note. Coming up relatively soon in the near future, there's going to be a new segment I'm going to post on social media. It's called the Dan Bernstein Unfiltered Word of the Day. So I'm going to pull a word that you use, and I know this came from an email, and read the definition of it in a short video, just to help our listeners become smarter. Because there's at least one word of the day that I learned something new. Like today, early on, the word eponymous. What did you say?
Eponymous.
How is it?
Eponymous.
Okay. So yeah,
EPONYMOUS.
All right, I'm gonna look that one up later, and that'll be the first one for the DBU word of the day. I'll post a short video reading the definition of that word, so we can all get smarter together. As I get smarter, you can all join my journey and expand your vocabulary. So we'll have the DBU word of the day as well as the DBU hot guy of the day.
I saw that yesterday. Tom in Edgebrook says, Monday you guys were talking about Caleb Williams finding the balance between running after leaving the pocket and throwing. Mm-hmm. Matt, you said that Caleb would prefer to run. Ben's trying to coach him to stand and throw. Looking at Caleb's background, we have college stats on quarterbacks who scramble to throw versus scramble to run. In college, Caleb had one of the highest rates of scrambles that actually ended in a pass. And it's carried over to the NFL. One of the reasons he took so many sacks last year was he was unwilling to give up on pass plays instead of rushing. And this year, he's only scrambled for yardage 12 times in 6 games. If anything, I think Ben is probably telling him to take the easy yards rather than hold out longer to pass.
Right,
okay.
Good email, Tom. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I think that's excellent.
Good stuff, yes.
Sean says, I have 4 kids under the age of 9.
Oh, boy.
The 6-7 craze has taken over my house. I kind of knew what it was about, but my parents, who were in town last week, did not. So my mom asks my 3rd grade daughter what it meant. And my daughter told her she couldn't say it out loud, but she could write it down.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So my daughter wrote it down And what she wrote down for the meaning of the 6'7" craze was hairy balls and penis. Do I correct her, or do I just let her keep believing it means hairy balls and penis?
Wow. No, don't correct her. Don't correct. I didn't see that coming at all. So she's a third grade, 9 years old, and thinks 6'7" is hairy balls and penis.
Yep.
All right. So he said 4 kids. So she's the oldest then.
4 kids under the age of 9. Good luck.
So
if I were you, I'd leave the country.
It wasn't like an older sibling that
No.
tricked her into thinking that. So it was someone at school,
Right.
most likely a boy,
Yeah.
who said to her that
Yeah.
6'7" means hairy balls and penis.
Sean, I don't know if I can help you on this one.
Don't correct her. Let it go.
No?
I would actually and then encourage it more.
Okay. Andy in Schaumburg has a saint
Good luck,
that we missed. Yeah, good luck. Andy in Schaumburg said, "What about David Saint Hubbins of Spinal Tap as portrayed by Michael McKean? Why didn't you include him?" I thought about it, but I think Spinal Tap 2 has ruined it for me. It's just a movie I was never going to see. I didn't like the trailers. I thought the trailers looked pathetic and sad. And I would, had there never been a Spinal Tap 2 and or their second album, Break Like the Wind, I probably would have gone there. But Spinal Tap's not the same because of them going back for a double dip on that thing.
All right. I'm sure you'll have some reaction to this. I've never seen Spinal Tap.
Okay, well you should remedy that as soon as you can.
Okay. I might do that then.
I really think you should.
Okay. I'll consider it. As long as you watch How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Well, here's a recommendation that you gave me that actually is a subject of Friday feedback. And it's Leo in Uptown. And he said, "Guys, I found it moving that the film Will and Harper was even brought up in your format. It's a true testament to your character. The film is at times heartbreaking, but it is an incredibly beautiful representation of friendship in a mad, mad world. Matt, great call. Thank you for bringing it up. Dan, please let us know when you have the chance to watch. I'll be tuning in either way, but I wanted to express some gratitude. For some reason I can't exactly pinpoint. The conversation had me pretty emotional, which is not a bad thing. It was just really sweet of you guys." Said, "Take good care, Leo in Uptown."
Well, thank you, Leo. Yeah, and I cannot recommend that documentary enough. It is, Leo worded it perfectly. It's a great, beautiful story of friendship. And you have this knowledge and image and perception of who Will Ferrell is from his movies, and you've seen him on different interviews and whatnot. And watching this, it shares a different side of Will Ferrell, and it's a beautiful, lovely story. If you're a super Neanderthal hockey guy that we mentioned earlier in this show, you're not going to enjoy it because you lack a human quality of empathy and understanding and love and kindness and goodness in your heart. But if you are a regular human being that has those qualities, you will thoroughly enjoy this doc if you've not watched it yet.
Here's something from Nathan. Nathan says, "Guys, I really appreciate all the content you're putting out. I also appreciate you brought up the NBA return to NBC, which was a triumph of those nostalgic 90s NBA broadcasts we came to enjoy being Bulls fans. I don't know how many noticed the subtle Easter egg, but if you watch the initial beginning of the Round Ball Rock intro with the lasers carving out the NBC logo, the initial aspect ratio of the video is 4:3. Before it changes into our common 16:9 widescreen format that we've grown accustomed to in the last 30 years. But a small tip of the hat to the trusty jalopy televisions that we used to watch when the Bulls were trashing Matt's favorite John Starks every late spring in the playoffs. Well done, NBC. Somebody put a lot of thought into that whole thing."
Very nice. So maybe that just goes back to what we discussed earlier this week about the homage to the big voice announcer, and maybe that was just done for that opening night only.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe, but that's a really
Good
good catch.
catch, too.
I can't say that I did notice it. I don't know, Matt, if you have any left, but I was going to close with this one before we get to our top 10 Ravens.
No, go ahead. Yeah, we're good.
Jim in Orland Park. The My Buddy segment was epic. I'm still laughing about it. So when my son, who is now 22, was little, I used to sing him the My Buddy song. And I always called him My Buddy. So on Tuesday, I played the segment for him. All of those alternate lyrics. As I'm on the ground laughing, my son says, "Thanks, Dad. Thanks for ruining my childhood for me." He said, "I'm still laughing, and yes, he's still mad at me."
That's great. Yeah, I loved our take on the geographical differences for the theme song based on where the doll was sold.
I didn't know how many people remembered it, let alone
God,
the one loon who still had his stashed away.
Oh, I think if you're of a certain age and you saw that commercial one time, that song is burrowed in your brain forever, and not Joe burrowed either.
Yeah, you know what else is? Does anybody remember Alvin the Aardvark?
I don't.
For some reason, my sister and I, it's like that's an automatic touchstone. Like a lot of for some reason, Alvin the Aardvark, that commercial, is one that I remember way too well. It was like you'd move the aardvark across the floor and it would shoot its tongue out and like pick up ping pong balls or shoot ping pong balls.
Right now. All right, so it was a little toy game kind of thing.
Yeah, and the jingle. It was the jingle for Alvin the Aardvark is something that has stayed in my head. So that's probably a much deeper cut than My Buddy. But
yeah, it looks like a big hairless ball and penis.
Yeah, it also looks like a toy that who would want that?
I don't know. It's really I've never seen this before. This must have been when I was younger. I mean, what you got? You got 4 years on me, so maybe that was like the early mid 70s,
which are entirely different era than the mid 70s.
Yeah.
No, I think it was right around 1980. We had the late 70s.
Really?
Yeah, Alvin
we
the
didn't have TVs.
Yeah, it's just a bad toy.
Yeah, that looks terrible.
Did you have toys in Berwyn, or did you just get like a board
No, we had
with
switchblades.
I was saying nails sticking
Chinese
out of a
throwing
board.
Stars. Yeah,
Cool.
Cigarettes, like empty cigarette carton boxes. We made like forts out of those.
Cigarettes were the toys. Here you go, kid. Play with this.
Yeah, then the box, the carton, the empty carton was we used a lot of those to make forts. No, we had decks of cards and sticks, rocks,
Members of Sticks.
dirt.
Thanks for the Friday feedback. I look forward to it. Great stuff. You know what separates the professionals from everyone else? They don't ignore injuries. A torn ligament doesn't heal itself. Well, neither does ED. And 30 million men deal with it, which adds up to pretty much every major sports fan combined. And that's where Rougiette comes in, because ED happens when there's not enough blood flow. And that can be combined with decreased arousal signals from your brain. So it's not about age or losing your competitive edge. It's just biology, and it's treatable with Rougiette. Doctors review every case, so there's tailored treatment. It isn't a one-size-fits-all. It's online. There's no awkward pharmacy trips. Their medications are FDA-approved ingredients. Unlimited doctor follow-ups are included to make sure that your dose can be adjusted until it's just right for you with Rougiette. And players who ignore injuries have short careers, and those who get treatment do not. They remain effective, and this is a treatment. Rougiette specializes in ED treatment with doctors who know exactly what they're doing. Visit Rougiette.com, that's RUGIET.com, and use the promo code DBU at checkout for a special offer. RUGIET.com. Get back in the game with Rougiette.
All right, it's time now for the top 10 Ravens of all time. The committee has convened at the kitchen table here at the Abaticola home, and they have produced a list of 16 items. So there's 6 honorable mentions and 10 items for the top 10 list, which is a good number to have for a top 10 list. Well done. Yeah, well done. Nicely done. All right, we'll go through some of these quicker than others because some have some more to mention. But starting with the honorable mentions for the top 10 Ravens of all time. Honorable mention number 1 is Elsa Raven, American actress, most known for her role as the Save the Clock Tower lady from the movie Back to the Future.
Oh.
Elsa Raven.
Okay.
Another honorable mention, Jimmy the Raven, a Raven actor who is reported to have appeared in more than 1,000 films from the 1930s to the 1950s.
Jimmy the Raven is my number 1.
No way! Get out of here.
Jimmy the Raven, my jaw dropped when I read about Jimmy the Raven.
That's amazing. You're overall number 1.
My
Raven
overall Jimmy the Raven is my overall number 1.
Wow.
Because did you read about him?
Yes, this is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It kept going. I'm like, no way. He's incredible, Jimmy the Raven. I made him number 1.
Wow, that's amazing here.
So do you want to wait? Do you want? Can I have that one?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
In-depth?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm done with it because he's an honorable mention for the committee. He's your number 1. You can elaborate on Jimmy the Raven. More than 1,000 films. Another honorable mention: the Ravens, an American R&B vocal group formed in 1946 by Jimmy Ricks and Warren Suttles. They were one of the most successful and most influential vocal quartets of that period.
Okay.
The Three-Eyed Raven from Game of Thrones, mystical figure who guides Bran Stark to become the next Green Seer, possessing the power of green sight, allowing him to see the past, present, and future.
I thought it was like a golf thing.
No.
I thought his handicap was cut in half the moment he had green sight. Okay. No? Because that'd be awesome.
That's really good.
I think you want to come in on the right. It's a false front. Like he always knew exactly how much yardage it was between the trap and
really
where he
good.
wanted his landing
spot. He would be
spot.
a great caddy, yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah, okay.
That's really good.
Okay.
So that's the Three-Eyed Raven from Game of Thrones. Cameron Crowe.
Honorable mention. Honorable mention for me, too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, recurring character from the series BoJack Horseman. Despite his name being Crow, the character is definitely a Raven. The show makes a running gag out of this confusion, with the character himself pointing out, my name is Cameron Crowe, but I'm actually a Raven, so common misconception.
Okay, mine was, I have the actual Cameron Crowe.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
The director.
Yes.
Okay. Anything to share on him?
No, he's part of my honorable mentions.
All right, and then last honorable mention is Raven Simone. American actress, singer, director, received several accolades, including 5 NAACP Image Awards, 2 Kids' Choice Awards, 3 Young Artist Awards, 5 Emmy Award nominations, and in 2012, she was included as VH1's list of 100 greatest child stars of all time. That's Raven Simone.
I had her as number 7.
There you go. Look at that.
Yes, Raven Simone.
All right, now we start the
7.
committee's top 10 list.
All right.
Coming in at number 10 is the Disney Raven. A character from the 1937 film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, later appeared as the antagonist in other Disney media.
Oof, that
he
movie
is the
sucks.
evil queen's pet raven.
That movie's so bad.
Yep, but iconic figure of childhood movies.
Yep.
Number 9 is Grip.
He's my number. Grip is my number 8.
Oh, okay, so almost there, right there, number 9. Beloved pet of English writer, journalist, social critic Charles Dickens. The pet raven inspired a character in the 1841 novel Barnaby Rudge, which in turn inspired Edgar Allan Poe's poem The Raven. Grip died on March 12th, 1841, Dan, after eating lead-based paint chips.
And then he became a score caller.
Upon his death. Now, that shed some insight on the bird himself, but that wasn't the end of Grip, as Charles Dickens had the bird taxidermied and displayed in a glass case. The stuffed bird is currently on display, Dan, at the Free Library of Philadelphia as part of the Edgar Allan Poe collection.
Okay.
A quick side note on that. The Free Library of Philadelphia isn't just a free library, meaning it doesn't have a cover charge to get in when the bouncer greets you at the door and asks for ID. It is a public library system with over 50 branches that provides free access to books, digital resources, programs for all ages to advance literacy and lifelong learning. While the name would suggest there is a library system in the greater Philadelphia area that charges people for access to their books, there isn't. Just to clear that up.
Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't been shut down yet by the government.
Oh, it's soon.
I
Soon.
guarantee you. Yeah.
When ICE starts going after books. Mm-hmm. Number 8, The Raven. I know you excluded this, but a narrative poem by American writer Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh,
was published
ineligible. Begging the question.
in January 1845, primarily about death of his beloved Lenore and Hope. Lenore is a fictional character in the poems Lenore and the Raven, but many critics believe the character was inspired by his wife Virginia, who died of tuberculosis in 1847.
Okay.
The committee also has a quick side note on this one, Dan.
Yes.
There isn't one historian who believes Virginia, Edgar Allan Poe's late wife, was the inspiration for the 1998 song by Train, Meet Virginia. But a deep dive into the magical lyrics of Meet Virginia might suggest otherwise, as they are truly inspired lyrical poetry. Her daddy wrestles alligators, mama works on carburetors, her brother is a fine mediator for the president. Well, here she is again on the phone. She, like me, hates to be alone. We just like to sit at home and rip on the president. Meet Virginia, all right? Those are some lyrics from the song.
I thought it was
Meet
Virginia
by
McCaskey. It's not Virginia McCaskey?
It's not about Virginia McCaskey, although
Okay.
it should be.
Okay, because I think it would be better understanding if it were about Virginia McCaskey. It would explain some things, yeah.
All right, number 7 on the committee's list of top 10 Ravens, Scott Levy.
I went to camp with a guy named Scott Levy.
Scott Levy, an American-born professional wrestler, better known by the ring name of Raven. He made appearances in the ECW, the WCW, the WWF, and WWE, and TNA. Widely recognized as one of the best talkers in wrestling, Raven is known for his psychological heel tactics and grunge-inspired gimmicks. The wrestler Raven, Scott Levy, number 7.
I don't think it's the same guy I went to camp with. No, it's not.
No, he was born in Philadelphia.
Philly.
His
Okay.
father was a journalist and editor, I think, for some really well-known magazine there.
Okay.
All right, number 6, Hugin and Moonin.
Hugin and Moonin, my number 2.
Wow, look at that. Look
They're
at that.
they're huge.
Yeah, from Norse mythology. They were
From
Ravens.
Norse mythology.
They were the ravens that flew across the 9 worlds to gather knowledge for the god Odin. Their symbolic meaning revolves around wisdom, memory, and the continuous pursuit of knowledge through observation and reflection, which is important for some humans. Their names translate to thought and memory. Odin fears losing either, but the loss of memory is considered a greater loss than that of thought.
Okay.
So that's Hugin and Moonin.
Yeah, there's and actually I read about them for a while because there's so much. There's a lot of information regarding Hugin and Moonin.
Anything to share?
No, it was kind of cool actually. That's one of the reasons I enjoyed doing this segment was because there's so much stuff I didn't know. But yeah, I just thought they were they're no Jimmy the Raven. They're nobody's Jimmy the Raven. But that was my number 2.
Number 5, the Mad Hatter's Raven, refers to the famous riddle from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Why is a raven like a writing desk? Now, originally, Lewis Carroll did not intend for the riddle to have an answer, but he later provided a solution. A writing desk can produce a few notes, and a raven is never put with the wrong end in front. However, the word never was meant to be spelled backwards, N-E-V-A-R, as a pun on the word raven, but a proofreader removed the inverted pun before publication. Did you know that?
I did not.
Well, there you go. That is number 5, the Mad Hatter's Raven. Number 4, Ravenclaw is a house at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry known for valuing wit, wisdom, learning, and creativity. Founded by Rowena Ravenclaw, the house's colors are blue and bronze. Its symbol is the eagle. The house and its house ghost is the Gray Lady. Now, students are characterized by their sharp minds, logic, and often eccentric and individualistic nature. If none of this makes sense to any of you, the House Ravenclaw is part of the fantasy novels written by British author J.K. Rowling entitled Harry Potter. Now, the novels chronicle the life of a young wizard named Harry Potter. By the way, how is your Harry Potter?
How's your Harry Potter?
Terry?
That's why Terry got kicked out of the bookstore, remember?
Correct. How's your Harry Potter?
Yep.
Number 3, so that's number 4, Ravenclaw, House of
Okay.
Ravenclaw. Number 3, The Birds. 1963 American natural horror thriller film produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock. So maybe you've never seen it. It starred Jessica Tandy, Rod Taylor, Suzanne Plachette, and introducing Trippy Hedren in her film debut.
Tippy, not
Tippy.
Trippy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Trippy Hedren,
Tippy
different. Different.
Yeah, it was Spinal Tap. The story tells of a series
Hey,
of
man, look at these birds.
No, that's Cheech and Chong.
No, it's Trippy Hedren. Whoa, they're leaving tracers.
If you've never seen The Birds, because it is from 1963 and maybe you're younger,
Right.
and you think, all right, it's about a sudden, unexplained, violent bird attacks in a small California town, it's absolutely fucking terrifying.
Right. Or you could be like my kid who saw Mel Brooks's High Anxiety before he saw any of the Alfred Hitchcock films.
Oh, no.
So he had no idea really what was going on. And then he took a film class and he's like, oh, now I get all the jokes from the other movie.
Funny.
Yep.
Yeah, did you think The Birds was scary? Like, I'm sure you saw it as a kid, right?
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, you would think it wouldn't be, but it's pretty terrifying. All right, that's number 3, The Birds, which of course included ravens in The Birds That Kill People. Number 2, the Raven episode from The Simpsons. From the first Treehouse of Horror anthology, which aired in 1990. In the segment, Homer imagines himself as the narrator of Edgar Allan Poe's poem The Raven, with Bart playing the role of the Raven who taunts him. The story features Homer grieving for Marge and being repeatedly tormented by Bart's Raven, who only says nevermore before eventually asking Homer to eat my shorts. So number 2, the Raven episode from The Simpsons, the Treehouse of Horror anthology. And the number 1 overall Raven, according to the committee, Thurl Arthur Ravenscroft. American actor and bass singer. He was well known as one of the booming voices behind the Frosted Flakes character Tony the Tiger for more than 5 decades. Also, the uncredited vocalist for the song You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch from the classic Christmas television special Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, topping the list for the top 10 Ravens of all time, Thurl Arthur Ravenscroft.
Nicely done.
Committee.
Now,
Yes.
I appreciate the committee's hard work. I know what they put into this, so no judgment here, but we've got a lot of deviation on my list. The ones we have in common, I had the actual Cameron Crowe as an honorable mention, and you got my numbers 1 and 2, Jimmy the Raven and the combo of Hugin and Munin. Number 7, Raven Simone, and number 8, Grip, the pet of Charles Dickens, who became a character in Barnaby Rudge. Now, my honorable mention list. I've got the Chicago neighborhoods of both Ravenswood and Ravenswood Manor.
Nice.
I've got Counting Crows, the Black Crows, Russell Crowe, Sheryl Crow, the movie The Crow. And you know, I did not include Magpies, Jays, the other 2 members of the Corvid family in this list. Number 10 on my list, Pete Crow Armstrong.
Okay.
I like him. I think he's fun and cool and exciting and definitely at the moment one of the most important and telegenic Chicago athletes, and maybe will end up being, I hope, one of the most exciting and telegenic Chicago athletes of an era. There's certainly that we've had in a long, long time. So Pete Crow Armstrong is number 10. Number 9 is the candy known as Crows. Crows have existed since the 1890s. The trademark was registered in 1911. They were bought by Tootsie Roll Industries in 1972.
Oh, I remember these.
And these are basically, if you know the movie Candy, dots.
Yeah, they're black dots.
Yep, they're licorice black dots. It's basically, it's like if you made a whole box of the Black Chuckle and only had this. And I didn't know these existed until the entire North Star camp went to a movie at the Hayward Theater years and years and years ago. I think we saw, I don't know, it was like the Goonies or something like that. And they had crows. And I said, are those what I think they are? And I thought that the world had opened up to me. And yeah, they're kind of racist, but there's something awesome about you don't have to search for the licorice bite. You don't have to search for the black jelly bean or the black gumdrop. You just reach into the box and you can watch a movie without looking down trying to find all the ones that you love. They're all in the box together. It's the equivalent of like the Oops All Berries version of Crunch Berries. So Crow's Candy, number 9.
All right.
Again, number 8 was Grip. Number 7 was Raven Simone. Number 6 is Bran the Blessed. Bran the Blessed, which translates in Welsh to blessed raven or crow, was a giant and king of Britain in Welsh mythology. He is the brother of Branwen, Manawyddan, Nisen, and Efnisen. The name Bran in Welsh translates to raven, and I can't even get into all of the mythos, but his species is giant. So he was a giant and king. And I like the fact that Branwen gave birth to a son named Gwern, Gwern.
Nice.
So if we end up having another child, it's going to be named Gwern.
Gwern. Okay.
Yeah. I just think it's a good
if
name.
you're listening to this episode of DBU and your wife is with child, there's
Gwern.
a name option for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll give you a special prize pack if you can have a child and name it Gwern and show evidence of that.
Yeah, you need to prove it with birth certificate.
Yep.
Gwern is the child's first name.
Gwern.
There'll be a DBU prize pack.
Yep, Gwern. That's number 6, Bran the Blessed. Number 5, the Tower of London Ravens.
Okay, yeah. Good pull.
They're known as the Guardians of the Tower, and we know how smart ravens are. And the legend is, it said the kingdom and the Tower of London will fall if the 6 resident ravens ever leave the fortress. It was Charles II, thought to have been the first to insist that the ravens be protected after he received the warning that the crown and the tower itself would fall if they left. And the order was given against the wishes of his astronomer, John Flamsteed, who complained the ravens impeded the business of his observatory in the White Tower. Now, I first learned about John Flamsteed recently on our trip to England when we went to Greenwich, and Beth and I went to the Royal Observatory and learned all about John Flamsteed. But I did not know about where the ravens came up. There are currently ravens in the tower, and the names are Harris, Jubilee, Poppy, Edgar, Georgie, Chaos, Henry, and Poe. So
Interesting.
They exist, and they are there. The Tower of London Ravens are number 5.
Now, 2 prize packs if you name your child Gwern Flamsteed.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
Gwern. I'm writing that down. Gwern Flamsteed. We got to put him on the team somewhere. Yes. We got to add him in there with
We'll find a spot for him.
with Mike off and a mere 12 yards.
Yes.
We got to have Gwern Flamsteed on there. All right, so that was number 5. Number 4 is the symbolic and plot-moving raven from the good, bad, bad, good movie Damien Omen 2.
Oh, okay.
Now, the Omen one we know is an actual good movie
Great movie.
with Gregory Peck and just how terrifying it was. Damien Omen 2 is a lesser, kind of campier version where the violence becomes a little bit silly and it's just sort of the same scene over and over again. But there is a raven who is involved in all this and always symbolizes either the raven itself is literally going to be involved in the horrible death or is at least symbolizing the death. And now we've got a little bit of connection between our 2 segments today. And it comes in an odd way that the star of Damien Omen 2 is the late, great William Holden, who, and this was shortly before he died when he got drunk and fell over and hit his head and died. Do you know the hometown of William Holden?
I don't, but I should know more about him. I think he's my mom's favorite actor, so I should probably know this.
Well, he was a lot of people's favorite actor. Did you ever see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Tarantino movie?
Yes, excellent movie.
Well, you know the Sean Penn's character that gets on the motorcycle?
Yeah.
I believe that's supposed to be William Holden.
Oh.
And he was born in O'Fallon, Illinois.
Really?
O'Fallon, Illinois, which was where our friend Father Nick is.
Wow.
So Father Nick, who weighed in on our Saints list in Friday Feedback, he has his ministry and does his fine work in O'Fallon, Illinois, the hometown of William Holden, the star of Damien Omen 2, which has the Raven that checks in at number 4.
Yeah, he was. I think this is definitely the guy that was my mom's favorite actor. He was won the Academy Award for Best Actor in Stalag 17.
Oh, great movie.
Which I know she loved, yeah.
Great movie, and was the basis for the long-running TV show Hogan's Heroes.
He was born William Franklin Beadle Jr.
Cool.
Yeah, Beedle. Interesting.
Right, well. Number 3 is Raven. Raven is a retired, apparently very successful and popular pornographic actress.
Okay.
And this is her bio from IMDb.
Also, the favorite film actress for my buddy.
Big fan.
Yeah, big fan of Raven.
Yep. This is her official bio on IMDb.
Oh boy.
She was born July 31st, 1964. Gorgeously slender and sensuous brunette knockout Raven. Was born Rachel Vickers. She first started steaming up the screens in explicit hardcore movies in 1983. She appeared in a slew of X-rated features for such notable companies as VCA, Las Vegas Video, AVC, CDI Home Video, and Caballero Home Video. Raven achieved her greatest enduring popularity with her spot-on, wicked portrayal of the bitchy, selfish, and manipulative teenage seductress Nina Sutherland in the well-regarded Taboo American-style series. She took a brief hiatus from porn in the late 1980s, but returned with a vengeance in the early 1990s, sporting larger, surgically enhanced breasts. Alas, Raven retired from the adult film industry a few years after making her comeback and has kept a low profile ever since.
She did make a comeback.
But she checks in as number 3, Raven.
Wow.
Number 2, as you mentioned, the Norse team of Hugin and Munin. And number 1, my number 1, and it surprised you, but Jimmy the Raven. Number 1. Jimmy the Raven, reported to have appeared in more than 1,000 films from the 1930s to the 1950s, made his debut in You Can't Take It With You in 1938. Director Frank Capra would then cast Jimmy in every subsequent movie he made. He was Uncle Billy's pet in The Building and Loan in It's a Wonderful Life. He is the crow that lands on the scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz.
Wow.
Jimmy belonged to Hollywood animal trainer Curly Twyford, who found the bird in a nest in the Mojave Desert in 1934. Now, if anything can speak to the intelligence of the corvids, this is it. Twyford trained Jimmy to do an assortment of tricks, such as typing and opening letters. Jimmy could ride a tiny motorcycle. Jimmy could understand several hundred words, although only around 50 were what Twyford called useful. It took Jimmy 1 week to learn a new useful word, 2 weeks if it had 2 syllables. Jimmy could perform any task possible for an 8-year-old child. His human co-stars were complimentary. Jimmy Stewart, on the set of It's a Wonderful Life, called Jimmy the Raven the smartest actor on the set, requiring fewer retakes than the human counterparts. And he said, when they called Jimmy, we both answer. After he'd become more popular with the studio, MGM had Jimmy insured for $10,000. Lloyd's of London wrote a policy to cover Jimmy's $500 a week fee, as well as Twyford's $200 handler fee in the event Jimmy forgot any of the words he'd need on the set. And Twyford credited these fees with keeping him solvent during World War II. At one point, Jimmy had 21 different stand-ins, 15 of which were female, who would fill in for him when the scene didn't require any tricks or movement. Jimmy's like, I'll be in my trailer.
Interesting.
Call me when you need me. I'll be in my trailer.
Well, I love that his weekly fee was higher than the human trainer, the human handler.
Right. Jimmy got a Red Cross gold medal in acknowledgement of 200 hours spent entertaining veterans after the war. His footprints enshrined in cement at a large Los Angeles pet store alongside those of Lassie and other Hollywood animal stars. His last credited film was Three Ring Circus in 1954, after which little is known about him. So there you have it.
Very
The
cool.
number one Raven of all time, Jimmy the Raven.
Very, very cool. All right, good stuff. Top 10
All
Ravens.
right.
I love it.
There you go.
I love it. And so then, what do we have? What do we have next week? Who do the Bears play? Is that the? It's not the Bengals game, is it? Or is it the Bengals game?
I think it is, isn't it?
Is next Friday the 31st? Yeah, the first, the second. Yeah,
Ooh, that's
it
going to
is.
be fun.
Yeah,
That's
so
gonna be
next,
fun.
Next week will be the top 10 Bengals of all time.
And obviously, I am going to be expanding the concept of Bengals to include both Tigers and anybody of Bengali extraction.
I'm going to expand the list to include anything I want.
Well, the committee is in charge of that. That's really all that matters.
No, the committee will stick to Bengals and Bengals alone.
Got it. Very cool. So that's going to do it for this fun Friday edition of Dan Bernstein Unfiltered.
Dan Bernstein Unfiltered. Unfiltered on 312 Sports.